Tens of thousands of years ago, when darkness fell upon primeval forests, humans were merely fragile creatures clinging to a precarious existence. We had no sharp claws, no thick skin to withstand the cold, and certainly no speed to escape nature's killing machines. Standing at the bottom of the food chain, mankind seemed destined for a tragic end in the course of nature. Yet, a grand and brutal turning point changed everything. Humans not only survived, but also subdued the most terrifying beasts on the planet. The greatest question in human history always echoes: exactly how did ancient humans domesticate wild beasts? Let us turn back time, returning to the harsh Stone Age to decode this shocking secret. The world back then was a bloody painting of survival and death. Right outside the dark cave entrance, the roars of saber-toothed tigers and giant gray wolves were always ready to devour anyone who dared to step out. In the bone-chilling cold of the Ice Age, primitive humans were forced to find a way out or accept extinction. And the first weapon that helped them turn the tide was not stone spears, but an extremely insidious strategic psychology. The first secret lay in exploiting the orphaned instinct of wild young. Ancient humans realized that an adult beast was untamable and could not be domesticated through sheer violence. But newborn cubs that had just lost their mothers were completely different. Under the flickering firelight of the cave, the panicked eyes of the cubs did not evoke compassion at all. Instead, they were viewed as strategic hostages in the tribe's survival game. Our ancestors brought them back, feeding them meager leftover scraps to create a primitive dependency. Through generations, the process of artificial selection quietly took place right within the temporary settlements. Animals that proved too aggressive, unruly, or intended to attack humans were eliminated immediately. Conversely, calmer, more docile individuals were kept and allowed to breed. That was the crudest blueprint of modern genetic engineering that our ancestors discovered themselves with blood and tears. Look at the spectacular transformation journey of the gray wolf, the sworn enemy of primitive humans. Initially, they were attracted by the smell of food and waste around human campsites. Instead of driving them away at all costs, some cunning groups of people began tossing them leftover bones. A silent pact was established between the apex predator and the weakest creature. Wolves received steady food without risking their lives, hunting deep in the forest. Conversely, humans gained a living alarm system with superhuman hearing and smell. When night fell, the warning barks of the primitive wolves saved the entire tribe from sudden surprise attacks. Through thousands of years of cohabitation, wild wolves full of suspicion evolved into absolutely loyal dogs. They not only protected territory, but also became powerful assistants in major hunting trips. But the story of taming beasts did not stop at dogs. Ancient humans also targeted much larger objectives to serve their ambition of expanding territory. In vast grasslands, the domestication of horses and wild cattle created a true economic revolution. Subduing a wild horse required patience and courage far beyond imagination. Primitive humans had to learn to read the body language of this lightning-fast animal. They step-by-step approached, got acquainted with the scent, and applied herd mentality restraint techniques. When a lead horse was subdued, the entire rest of the herd would voluntarily bow down and follow the new command. The strength of this giant animal liberated human feet from tiring walking journeys. It opened up the first trade routes, connecting tribes hundreds of miles apart. Not stopping there, humans also stepped into wetlands and jungles to seek larger targets. Orphaned baby elephants were once brought back to ancient settlements as a symbol of supreme power. Although taming elephants required the sacrifice of countless generations of the first trainers, the yield obtained was immense. They became living tanks, helping flatten forests, pull heavy logs, and transport tents. However, behind the glory of those domestication feats was a history full of bloody tragedies. More than once, the betrayal of beasts wiped out an entire primitive village in a single night. There were animals that, no matter how hard they tried, kept their wild nature and refused to submit to human rule. That forced our ancestors to make life and death decisions, either completely destroy or accept stepping back. That wise choice shaped the artificial ecosystem we live in today. Domestication not only changed the physiology and behavior of animals, but also transformed the human brain itself, Managing large beasts required our ancestors to develop more complex language systems to command and coordinate. Social rules within the tribe also became stricter when resources and livestock needed to be shared fairly. From mere hunter-gatherers, humans officially stepped onto the throne as masters of the entire Earth ecosystem. Just imagine, without the recklessness and extraordinary intelligence of ancient humans, what would our modern world look like? There would be no vast farms, no horseback expeditions, and certainly no loyal four-legged friends beside each of us. That is a great legacy traded for the sweat, tears, and even bones and blood of millions of previous generations. The journey from a weakling hiding in a cave to the ruler of wild beasts is the most eloquent proof of the power of human will. The power of fire in the hands of primitive humans acted as a life and death boundary to control animal behavior. The brilliant light and crackling sound of dry wood made all wild beasts tremble from deep within their instincts. Ancient humans utilized this primitive fear combined with food to create conditioned reflex conditions. Each time the animal obeyed, a delicious piece of meat was tossed out as a worthy reward for submission. Conversely, any aggressive or rebellious expression was punished with loud screams and raised spears. Over time, the brain structure of animals gradually changed. The cranial capacity of later generations became smaller, and their temperament became gentler. External changes, such as floppy ears, white fur spots, or curly tails also appeared as a sign of successful domestication. Our ancestors accidentally grasped the principles of genetics tens of thousands of years before modern science was born. They selected the friendliest animals, least afraid of humans, to breed with each other through each breeding season. The result was the creation of entirely new species that effectively served nomadic life and long-term settlement. This development also helped humans transition from a shifting cultivation and nomadic lifestyle to solid sedentary agriculture. Large settlements sprang up around fertile grasslands and valleys thanks to the strong support of livestock. Human civilization officially entered a brighter and more glorious chapter than ever before. All those achievements stemmed from bold decisions inside the cold caves of dawn times. Therefore, the history of taming wild beasts is not just a story about animals, but an epic of the rise of human intelligence. And you, what do you think is the hardest animal to domesticate in human history? Please leave your opinion in the comments section so we can continue discussing. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on notification bells to not miss the next fascinating historical documentary footage. Goodbye and see you again in our next fascinating videos.